Hi, Steve Miners, Managing Editor, Digital Health Insights. Welcome to today's webinar, Preparing for Your Next Epic Data Center Upgrade, the Case for High Performance Compute. We'd like to thank Comport for partnering with us today to bring this great content to you. We will leave some time at the end for Q&A, but feel free to submit some questions throughout the presentation. The Q&A function that you see there on your dashboard is the best place for you to submit questions. Our speakers are very happy to take questions throughout the presentation in more of an interactive format, but rest assured we'll have some Q&A at the end. Also, to remind you, the webinar will be available on demand after the presentation in case you missed part of the presentation. So before I freeze up, I would like to introduce our great speakers. First with us today is Ivers Apsite. He's the Health Practice Manager at HPE, which most of you all would recognize as Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. He has more than 30 years of experience in the IT field, spending much of those last 20 years in a variety of IT leadership and consulting roles. These include technology manager and strategist for Metro Health, senior health strategist for EUC at VMware, IT leadership at Priority Health, and healthcare managing consultant at several health systems. For Ivers, implementing technology solutions is a passion, especially where he can help meet the needs of health systems and the communities they serve. Also with us today is Bill Flatley, who is the field CTO for healthcare at Comport, where he leads technical strategies and recommendations for Comport's HC clients. For all his healthcare clients, his extensive 27 years experience includes 4 healthcare systems where he held leadership roles supporting clinical applications, digital health, and Office of the CIO as an IT business relationship manager. His technical and clinical experience is extensive. A few highlights, it includes data center infrastructure, clinical applications, EHR integrations, Epic systems engineering, and it goes on and on. But as you can see, you're in good hands. And a special note that Bill is a Chime Foundation certified healthcare executive and Chime digital health executive. So we welcome Ivers and Bill, and I will hand things over to Bill to give you a little bit of background on Comport.
Great, thanks so much, Steve. Really excited to be here with my colleague and good friend, Ivers. I appreciate him being here with us. A little bit about Comport, headquartered in Ramsey, New Jersey, and recently celebrating our 40th year. Comport is a value-added reseller, cloud service provider, and a managed services provider. We have offices in New York City, Boston, Philadelphia, and Minneapolis, where I'm coming to you live from today. At Comport, we believe that healthcare begins and ends with the patient. The mission for healthcare providers is to deliver the highest quality care to every patient. Healthcare IT plays a vital role in providing those innovative services that focus on uptime, security, and resiliency. Over the last 40 years, Comport has supported this mission by providing innovative, best-in-class solutions and services that are highly resilient, highly secure, and cost-effective. And today we'd like to talk about one of those innovative solutions, and that is high-performance compute from HPE. More specifically, the Superdome Flex servers for Epic. So as we get started, HPC may be new to some people, so I thought we'd start with a definition. And I won't read this whole definition to you, but at a high level, HPC really describes advanced computer systems which can process extremely large, complex, and intensive workloads. Some of the benefits of HPC are, again, faster processing, of course, increased accuracy as you are able to do more intensive simulations and modeling using high amounts of data. It really is useful in the fields of finance, engineering, and scientific healthcare research. My favorite benefit, which I will say over and over during this presentation, is the scalability. Being able, HPC systems are designed to really be able to easily increase and decrease computing resources as needed. And I think most of us experience really needing to increase on a regular basis. It makes it easier to handle larger workloads and adapt to changing business needs. We see, improved productivity because of the high performance that these servers deliver. And yes, maybe initially HPC technology requires a little bit larger investment, but ultimately over time, as you measure, increased productivity and being able to bring more innovation to your business, we believe the total cost of ownership over time can be lower. So our next slide, please. So Ivers, can you tell us about maybe some of the trends that you're seeing around the EPIC operational database platform and that tier? What are you seeing at HPE?
So thanks, Bill. I really appreciate the invite and the opportunity to speak before you all and to just share some of the insights that I myself at HPE have not only learned working with many customers, but also in working with EPIC. In my role, I actually get to work with EPIC. I manage the HPE EPIC relationship. So I do definitely am able to keep up on a lot of EPIC's guidance and insights that they offer into how and when to best position certain types of processors for certain types of customers. So as a general guideline, the EPIC community OT workloads are now seeing a significant shift to x86 processors. Earlier, to get the value or to be able to have higher performance, higher reliability, a lot of customers turn to proprietary Unix systems. We even had HPUX here at HPE. And as a customer, I ran HPE, HPUX as one of my operating systems. Very stable, but required custom hardware, custom software support, and specially trained administration, admins to manage that platform. Now, thankfully, the x86 platforms really have caught up. In some cases, actually exceed even some of the proprietary Unix platforms in both not only performance, but also reliability. And HPE has an awesome platform, as Bill mentioned, our Superdome Flex 280 and our next gen Superdome Flex that's coming out here soon. So besides only standardizing on x86 processors, also more standards-based Unix systems are being adopted. Red Hat by far is the predominant Unix operating system now running on the x86 platforms. However, Ubuntu has also been validated by EPIC to run on the these higher-end x86 systems. As you know, also as an EPIC customer, EPIC's generation after generation of EPIC's application as it grows, it rarely decreases in capacity requirements or CPU requirements or memory requirements. It always seems to edge up. And this is where high performance compute platforms really can benefit you as a customer, because they give you that scale, the ability to create the headroom needed over the life cycle of a system. So health systems are focusing on what's in these high performance compute platforms. They offer more cores, and that's important to understand. Memory capacity is important. Also, the type of memory. Be cautious. There's some newer DDR memories coming out there. There's an EC4 that is not recommended. We recommend EC8 memory for high performance compute. Processor frequency, very important, but also max turbo frequency that the platform can provide, very critical. Total onboard cache, again, necessary, and this is where high performance compute platforms really shine. There is a caution though. All these newer platforms, all these newer processors, their TDP value, their thermal design power also increases. So you got to also be invested in understanding how is that vendor managing thermals of the newer processors. Does it require water cooled? Can air cooled still do? Are they certain platforms requiring you to switch to a water cooled? Ask those questions. I'm very proud of how HPE has implemented not only its current platforms, but its next gen platforms, and very little has to change. Yes, some will require additional power supplies or additional cooling capacity, but it all fits within the same architecture, and that's what's really cool to see. Another big shift we've noticed is most growth that Epic's customers, at least that we've seen, but also I've heard from others, is 4-socket processors seem to be growing in popularity over the last 3 years. Now, additionally, HP itself has experienced a significant increase in also in 8-socket sales because of high performance compute for certain customers. The 8-socket platform makes sense. I'll cover that here in another slide. Also, and this is really at coming guidance from Epic, but we're also seeing it. The new generation of processors coming out are Sapphire Rapids. Their adoption, actually for some of the smaller to medium-sized customers, they may be able to go down from a 4-socket to a 2-socket Sapphire Rapids processor. Now, lots to be determined. There's still some vetting of those processors going on by Epic and also by HPE, but there is some optimism in maybe able to decrease the actual of consumption. But again, these are in the high performance compute lines, and so stay tuned where that is going. And I'm sure that Comport with us, or through information that Epic shares through Galaxy, stay tuned to what's published on Sapphire Rapids. All right, let's go to the next slide.
And Ivers, can you? I'd love to hear more about this. If you could, really describe. We hear about the different architectures for, the operational database in Epic, SMP versus ECP, scale up versus scale out. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, absolutely. And I know some of you are very familiar with this, but there may be some of you on the call here like, okay, what are the two architectures? Still, the lion's share of Epic's customers run on SMP, or symmetric multiprocessing, as you'll see the acronyms are described below. That basically means the operational database and application components of Epic all run on one platform. And I show two on the screen because they're typically mirrored within the data center, and actually then also typically mirrored in another offsite or secondary location. What has happened now, and Epic's confirmed this, that is that in the last 5 years, ECP adoption has actually doubled. And there's actually some really good reasons why ECP is now a growing and preferred architecture by a number of health systems. First of all, it's designed to offload processing from the server that's hosting the ODB. In this case, typically InterSystems Iris. And that database, if you can offload its user apps, such as I listed a couple of there on the slide, or now a new function that Epic has recently been able to offer up in the last couple of years is utility server offloads. So, background jobs or EPS jobs, for printing. When they're able to offload that functionality onto additional 2-socket servers, you definitely get more life out of the primary ODB server. This is where HPE offers in high performance compute really a lot of flexibility. First of all, our 4-socket platforms are very robust. The Superdome Flex starts out at 4-socket, especially the newer version of it. It'll be you can buy 4-socket, and the nice thing about it, you can add another 4 sockets going to 8 sockets. Epic actually has also been testing and validating our Superdome Flex 8-socket platforms. I'll be talking about that here in another slide. But the idea is you can start at 4 sockets, go to 8 sockets, and that connection is actually made very easily. That scale is made very easily. So this gives you the ability to start at 4 sockets and see how long you go. Maybe you don't need to expand, but maybe you do. When we give you that, again, lifecycle assurance, regardless of ODB architecture that you choose, that provides you the ability to either scale up within the whole application, such as the SMP architecture, or specifically just the ODB servers in the ECP architecture. Did that kind of lay it out, Bill, as we've talked?
No, that's great, Ivers. Thank you for that. I don't know that everybody is an expert in this area, so it's great to learn more about the two different architectures and how HPE's Superdome Flex can support both.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. So often people say, well, how do these two architectures scale, and where are we going? So these are actual validations that Epic has Epic provides, and that we've been working with Epic in testing with our platforms to validate these. So SMP for a 4-socket solution now can scale up to, based on the processor chosen, up to about 50 million GREFs. Now, what's a GREF? Some of you may not know what a GREF is. GREF stands for global references, which is basically you can equate it to simultaneous database reads and writes, a concurrent database touch, if you will, and it's measured in millions. In the SMP scale-up architecture, 8-socket processor. Now, this currently is the Cooper Lake processor, the 8380H, can scale up to 27 million GREFs. But then that's the ceiling that roughly it hits, okay? This is where ECP now really starts shining. For those customers that are concerned about hitting either the 15 million GREF ceiling or the 27 million GREF ceiling on a 8-socket box, they can look at a 4-socket ECP architecture. And notice how high that can scale. Now, that scale is, you don't have to size your box to hit 85 million. You size the box to hit what you need. And again, this is where our Superdome Flex architecture really comes into play nicely here. Let's say you are north of 15 million, or you're right around the 15 to 18 million range for a, in your database architecture. Well, you can adopt a Superdome Flex 4-socket box. It'll in the ECP architecture, and notice it'll easily support your range. But then, if you want to scale, that 4-socket can scale significantly. Now, Epic gives you a choice. Epic will lead typically with a 4-socket solution, but the 8 sockets give you that much more headroom in the same box. So you can now scale very nicely. So the 85 million GREFs, if your health system grows that high, is easily attained. Also, when you stay in, at least like, for example, in the SMP architecture, you do have all those less servers. You don't have yet less servers to manage. You do have everything runs on one box. So you can scale up to 27 million GREFs, everything running on one box, one pair of boxes mirrored. But in the ECP architecture, you do have the additional servers there that I showed on the prior slide, the app servers and utility servers. So it does require a little bit of additional administration and licensing. But again, nothing that's out of the norm of those Epic shops that do it. As a matter of fact, as you heard, most Epic shops are doing it. So our Superdome Flex plays very nicely in both areas, offering lifecycle management for both. On the horizon are Intel Sapphire Rapids and also the AMD Genoa processors. Now, Intel Sapphire is the latest gen of Intel processors. Those are already being vetted by Epic, and we are also, when available, we'll be participating in Epic in vetting those. Those unfortunately aren't available yet today, and I can't really give you an exact date when they're available. Please reach out to Comport, and we can work with you with Comport to give you more of an under NDA when you might be able to expect something coming for the Intel Sapphire line. However, the AMD Genoa line is now in testing at Epic, and we're anticipating soon results for our AMD Genoa for the ODB platform. Now, again, I just want to call out here that Epic does expect some 4-socket customers maybe adopt 2-socket processors in these high-end next-gen compute platforms, compute architectures.
Great.
All right.
So just to kind of a recap of not only about talking about the performance that that HPC technology from HPE brings to the table, but we really want to again, I'm gonna really harp on my favorite benefit is being able to scale without having to do migrations, to be able to grow your operational database server in a non-disruptive manner by being able to literally cable up additional compute nodes with no disruption to service. And that's important. I mean, planned and unplanned downtimes in any industry or vertical is, it's important to limit those as much as possible. But everybody, on this webinar, we're all here for healthcare, and we realize that it is even more important in this space because any type of planned or unplanned downtime can introduce risk and can introduce potential impacts to patient care, and we always want to avoid that. So to me, I love the fact that you can scale this technology in a way that is very much safe with less risk and less potential downtime. Being able to standardize on x86 platforms across all Epic tiers. Ivers, I think you touched on that nicely. We talk about really trying to streamline the technologies to rationalize down to less technologies makes it easier for your IT teams to support and being able to support the modern Red Hat Enterprise Linux, Ubuntu, the more modern OSs is much easier to do than to have proprietary versions of Unix to support. One thing I do want to touch on is reliability, availability, and serviceability is something that HPE really brings a set of capabilities that allow your systems to run at their best levels, and they're really made for mission critical applications. Whether it's around protecting the firmware, identifying memory errors before they can cause any disruption to your applications or your operating system. HPE takes a firmware first approach to the design. Having fault handling analysis engine, which can actually start to predict hardware faults and initiate self-repair activities without any type of operator assistance. We'll talk about this a little bit later, a little bit more in depth, but the Silicon root of trust, which can help, again, reduce exposure to threats, protect against firmware attacks. And HPE also delivers a tool called Service Guard for Linux, which allows you to build highly available disaster recovery clusters. And it can protect you from a multitude of infrastructure and application faults. And that's across both physical and virtual environments and over any distance for that matter. And so it just really shows the commitment that HPE has put into making sure these systems are reliable, available, and can be easily serviced. And when we talk about supporting ambitious growth, as we see more merger and acquisitions in the healthcare space, that means more migrations and into very large Epic instances. And that can also come from adding more Community Connect partners to your Epic space. If you're looking at merger and acquisition, if you're looking at bringing on more Community Connect, this is a great technology to look at. And it also supports growth and utilization through maybe turning on more Epic modules, using more functionality, registries, or other applications. Really can support any type of growth that you see in your utilization of Epic.
Hey, Bill, I want to add one point.
Sure.
Back to the RAS topic. A key thing to understand for the audience is this Superdome Flex platform has actually been vetted by many other verticals also. We have many installations many installations of Superdome Flex supporting financial market platforms, SAP specifically. And that market has also vetted the platform and been able to, through that market, it's been able to demonstrate a very high capability to be, deliver RAS features well above many other x86 platforms out there. And I think that now is also being demonstrated in the healthcare space, supporting, Epic platforms.
Before we move on to the next slide, Bill and Ivers, we have a question that came in, and back on your slide from the architecture explanation. The question is, as I understand it, ECP is more complex, takes more administrative effort, and is more expensive. does Superdome Flex keep me from having to go from SMP to ECP and keep things simpler and cheaper to run?
SMP is definitely a architecture that keeps things simpler. It is simple. Now, I believe my friend at Epic may argue with me a little bit because of the ability to scale out is something preferred by customers. But yes, the Superdome Flex, because of the head end it can provide, or the headroom it can provide, by being able to scale to 8 sockets very easily, that does provide a lot of customer protection for a life cycle management, for the life cycle of the box. So you can start with 4 sockets Superdome Flex, SMP architecture, add another 4 socket box, and it works. This has been embedded in Epic's labs, and Epic has been able to, validate that the Superdome Flex can support currently. The current processor can support the 27 million GREFs.
Great, thank you for the question.
Yeah, good question.
So, Ivers, you touched on testing, and you, because of your person, that you manage a relationship, with Epic in this space. Can you talk to us more about how HPE's products are being tested?
Sure. So I've been at HPE for about 4.5 years, and when I came on board and started managing relationship, Epic didn't have any of our gear in their test labs. And basically, about a year into my tenure, I basically kicked off an internal program where we became HPE has a long-term program that we are working with Epic to invest in their testing and validation infrastructure in their test labs. So we work hard to provide Epic our high-end gear so they can keep testing the current and future versions of the Epic application, the ODB requirements, VMware requirements, Red Hat requirements, or all of the nuances of configuring those platforms to provide the best and most performance, solution out for Epic, for its customer, for Epic's customers. Epic has 3 of our Superdome Flex 8-socket solutions in their lab. So Epic is very familiar with how the Superdome Flex 280 behaves. They can architect or basically decouple the 2 4-socket boxes, knock it down to a 4-socket box, do performance testing on it, recable it, and then do 8-socket testing on the same box. And they have our 8380H processors in it, so they have the latest, greatest Cooper Lake processors in it, and that's helped Epic really demonstrate a lot of performance capabilities that at least the high-end HPC processors can bring to its customers. Now, I know as HPE, I can speak to some of the value that I feel that HPE brings to Epic and Epic's customers. Epic will not say it. I believe maybe some from Epic are maybe even on this call, and I can already see 1 or 2 of them rolling their eyes at me. But the idea is this box is hard to break. And based on the number of years that these boxes have been in Epic's labs, I can't right now really remember of one hardware failure. It's that it may have had a driver incompatibly here or there, but the box just runs. And therefore, I think that's what Epic likes to get out of that box is it performs. It can use it. It can depend on it to perform and help break the latest and greatest alpha versions of not only Epic's code, but Iris code, from InterSystems, VMware's code, Red Hat code. It's able to vet all of that before it goes GA. And that is what you as a healthcare customer want us to do. You want us working together so we can, when these things go GA, you can be assured that these will be solutions that are going to perform for you in a highly reliable, highly available, highly supportable fashion. Also, as you see on the screen, we have AMD Genoa processors in Epic's lab, a couple of other Ice Lake, and soon Sapphire Rapids boxes coming. They have a Synergy chassis with EyeSight compute modules in it, and they also have one of our Electra 9080 storage arrays, a 4-node storage array in their lab for testing. Also,
when
yeah,
you
go
talk
ahead.
about consumption, Ivers, too, I mean, because of such, thorough testing and vetting of HPE hardware, can you talk about, how, you really can help, Epic customers target exactly what they need?
Right. Thanks for cueing up my quick GreenLake commercial. So GreenLake is HPE's consumption model, and if you as a customer saying, well, what is that? Definitely reach out to Comport and ask them about GreenLake. It is a very flexible way to consume our technology, our infrastructure, but also provide the services along with that consumption. We can even provide a consumption model for colos. So lots of great features there. But the key thing is if you start looking at Epic's hardware capacity, guides, and even their capacity assessment, and their hardware configuration guides and the capacity assessments, Epic definitely is now starting to speak to buy only what you need when you need it. Don't buy everything up front. You'll start seeing some of that language in their guides. And that's true. I mean, if you're looking for a 5-year investment, that's a long time for a technology to stay current, if you will, to stay on Epic's target platform guides. What we do with GreenLake through our consumption model is we are able to extend your longevity ability, giving you that purchasing power of buying the technology when you need it and only when you need it. So you're not buying a lot of capacity at the start of a large CapEx acquisition and then leaving 40, 50, 60, so then 70% of it unused, but you had to buy it because that's what you had CapEx funds available for. I want to caution people, say, yeah, but typically I only can work with CapEx funds. I don't have any OpEx funds, and it sounds like this could be an OpEx offering. No. We can actually support GreenLake consumption using CapEx funds. We can also support using OpEx funds, or we can use a mixture of both. Definitely work with Comport, and we can definitely work with you on presenting how those financial models work. But it isn't just a financial model. It's also keeping up with current technologies and ability to leverage those, like I said, even in a colo fashion. Also, we can leverage cloud adjacencies, especially when colos come into play. But also as you can extend cloud functionality to your on-premises. There's a lot of consumption flexibility that GreenLake offers, especially when it comes to high-performance compute. It can really set up your health system to really meet its needs, but not have a huge capital outlay up front.
Great. Thank you, Ivers. Next slide, please. So just talking about the 4 unique Epic tiers, presentation, web, and services. I think we've touched pretty intensely upon the operational database, Iris database, and how Superdome Flex can really help there. But Ivers, can you speak to the analytical reporting, the Clarity Cogito environment, and how Superdome Flex can work there? Yeah,
this will be a quick one, but a number of customers are realizing that a 2-socket or 4-socket box in the standard compute tiers of servers sometimes doesn't meet their growing needs to support some or all of the Cogito reporting environment. Clarity specifically, or maybe even Caboodle, there are tiers where you need to push the bounds of analytical reporting. And we now have a number of customers that are running Superdome Flex, high performance compute, for their reporting environment. Now, sometimes reporting isn't considered a tier 0 app. You don't always need reporting, but some customers also don't want that to go down. And so not only can you scale, you can also provide that reliability in the Cogito reporting environment. And again, that's really where the Superdome Flex is a nice niche. Epic actually also has been testing and validating Superdome Flex to support the SQL tiers of Cogito. And again, very good results in that testing.
That's great. And actually, I noticed in the Q&A, Scott put a comment out here, currently running on HPE Superdome Flex servers. They've been rock solid other than a couple of DIM failures, and the cluster node did fail over as expected when the DIM failed on the prod node. So, and it has allowed them to stay on SMP rather than go to ECP. So that's
Wow.
great. Thank you, Scott.
An unprompted reference.
Oh, great. All right, next slide. So some other areas, and we're talking heavily about Epic today, but there are some other areas. If you're in a larger healthcare organization where you're maybe doing a lot with AI, ML, some in research, we know that HPC can support those extremely complex and intensive workloads for AI and ML. To help you build more and more insights for evidence-based care. It's great for research, great for those hybrid large data lake, data warehouse designs. And at Comport, we bring expertise in this area. We bring high performance compute experts that can help you build and manage HPC clusters. We have people that work with researchers and data scientists every day in this space across across many different verticals. So if you're going into those areas within your healthcare organization, we can bring the professional services and the managed services around high performance compute to help you get started and maintain your high performance clusters. So to touch on some of the more benefits again of HPC from HPE, it is truly a seasoned platform. And I'm going to dive in a little bit more about some of the tools that HPE provides along with these servers. And we talk about reliability, availability, and serviceability. Yeah, they bring advanced memory resiliency where they detect and correct data errors. They have an application tuner. It's actually called Application Tuner Express for Linux. And what's really great about that tool is, especially when you're running Linux, it helps you achieve maximum performance while running on multi-socket servers. And it actually allows you to align, your application execution with data and memory to get an even, more increased performance. Because of the near zero maintenance downtime technologies that are built into HPC technology, you have faster recovery times when you do have any type of issues. And another product that they bring to the table is SureStart, which is it's the first and only self-healing technology solution that was created to protect against malware and security attacks that are aimed at the BIOS level. So again, it brings self-healing, it brings protection, for your firmware, so you can avoid those permanent denial of service attacks and advanced persistent threats. It can help you, really detect those, report them, and really start to help you support out of those attacks. I don't know, Ivers, if you have any more that you'd like to talk about regarding those technologies.
Basically, no, the technologies are very broad. And what I really invite you to do is, instead of us expounding more on these technologies, definitely engage with Comport to bring in also some of our HPC subject matter experts and to have them really give you a deep and wide roadmap and discussion regarding our Superdome Flex platform. It's truly worth your time to get an understanding of that value it provides to your health system.
Great. So another area and Ivers, if you could touch on this a little bit, is something that we've heard about from HPE over the past couple of years is the Silicon Root of Trust and how that enhances your security posture.
Mm-hmm.
Can you touch more on that?
So yes, our silicon rooted truss is something that is very unique to HPE, and we're very proud of this. At one point earlier, I mean, we even were calling our servers the most secure servers, in the world. And the reason why is we own, first of all, a secure end-to-end supply chain. That means the parts are sourced by HPE, built by HPE, assembled by HPE, configured by HPE. And so you can be assured that our supply chain, there's no one outside, there's no third-party components that are installed in these servers that can potentially have some deep-rooted exposure to potential malware ransomware. The second issue of our silicon root trust is our firmware is digitally signed. Because remember, most ransomware, most what malware attacks below the operating system. So they try to find some open port, some open flaw in the firmware. And our firmware is actually digitally signed. So what's actually been proven is if a flaw is found and a change has been made based on the frequency, and you can change the frequency, but you can run it, I think, as frequently as 5 or 10 minutes. You can, as soon as you can detect a change in that firmware, if someone laid down a bogus firmware version, that can be signaled as an alert, and numerous different responses can be then triggered based on that alert. And that is such a powerful feature in our Superdome Flexes and across actually all of our compute platforms. Now, is that the main reason to buy HPC? No, not at all. There's many other reasons why to buy HPC, but this is one significant but yet very important differentiator in how our firmware is managed.
Great. Thanks, Ivers. Next slide. So I'd like to talk to you about our Comport Secure, is what we call our managed services division of Comport. We like to refer to Comport Secure as an as-a-service powerhouse. And a lot of that is powered because of our partnership with HPE. But with our managed services team and our professional services team, we can really, as you see on the screen here, we can help improve affordability. We can customize what you need, and we can scale. And what that means, first off, on affordability, as Ivers touched on through GreenLake and other pay-as-you-go opportunities that we can bring to the table for you. If you need to avoid that traditional large capital expenditure up front, there are a lot of options that we can to help you meet your budget needs. And we understand too that managed services, some people need different forms of professional and managed services. So we bring, highly skilled engineering, highly skilled architect level resources that can bring flexible solutions that actually fit what you need, and we can scale to your staff. We know today that everybody's IT department is stretched thin. What's great is you can engage Comport Secure to take on some of those, as we say here on the screen, tedious tasks, the stuff that's really not fun, but needs to be done. Monthly patching, firmware upgrades, the work that just needs to be done, around break fix, care and feeding. And what's great about that is our Comport Secure team will be right at the elbow, partnering with your IT department. We'll take on those tasks while people on your team can take on more important new projects, things that are super important to your business. They can use their knowledge of your organization to do more important work. Next slide. So with Comport, although we do work across lots of different verticals, almost 50% of our business today is with healthcare. And as you can see from the different customer logos that we have on the screen here, you see everything from a small 3-clinic organization all the way up to some of the largest healthcare organizations in the country and everything in between. So no matter your size or scale, we're here to, we know healthcare, we know the business very, very well, and we're here to work with you. And as a reminder, we are a Chime Foundation member along with our partner HPE. And to talk about our partnership, we are, Comport is a Hewlett Packard Enterprise Platinum partner, and that stretches across you know, the healthcare vertical itself, but also when you dig into server, storage, Aruba networking, hyperconverged infrastructure, and other technologies. We are a partner. We have been a long-standing partner and a very good partner with HPE, and we look forward to that growing and enhancing throughout the years to come. So how do you get started? If you haven't looked into HPC or you want to learn more about it, you know, the best way to get started is to contact us at Comport, and we'll bring our HPC experts along with the experts from HPE to the table. And to do that, simply send me an email at bill.flatley@comport.com, or you can visit our website at comport.com/HPE-Superdome-Flex. And when you engage with us, we will, again, bring all the resources we have, all the expertise we have around high performance compute from both Comport and HPE to you, so you can help make the best decisions for your organization. And I guess at this point, thanks for listening to our presentation, and we'll look for any questions or comments.
Thank you so much, Bill and Ivor. Such great technical information explained in such a way that we could all understand. I appreciate the viewers who sent in some questions throughout. Again, welcome the LinkedIn Live viewers as well. Let's get into some Q&A. Feel free to keep sending the questions in as we get through, as we start getting into the questions. We'll get to as many as we can. And if we don't get to your question, we'll make sure that the guys see your question even after the presentation. So let's jump in here. Let's see, first question. Can I use my current storage platform with the Superdome Flex?
Yeah, I'll take this one. And Bill, if you want to add to it. Sure. We basically adhere to Epic's target platform guide. And more specifically, any storage array that is on Epic's SPATS guide, Storage Products and Technology Status Guide, that storage platform can connect to us. It typically requires some form of fiber channel connection. Epic still prefers fiber channel. We definitely support that. So the Superdome Flex is very compatible with pretty much any of your storage platforms out there. Obviously, you know, those listed in the SPATS guide. Bill?
Yeah, yeah, and I really don't have much more to add. I mean, I could go through numerous, you know, different storage vendors. I don't, but at the risk of leaving anybody out, I won't say any more than that. But yeah, I mean, I've in my years, I've seen plenty of different storage vendor solutions. Again, through, you know, fiber channel connecting, you know, and working great with HPE's compute technologies.
Okay, thanks. On to the next. Isn't the Superdome Flex x86 platform like other 4-socket compute solutions?
That's actually a good question. Actually, no, it's not. What's unique about Superdome Flex is it's actually been it's an evolution from one of our former acquisitions, Silicon Graphics. That platform also was already a very highly recognized, you know, high performance compute platform, and the Superdome Flex has evolved from that architecture, from all of that expertise. And on top of that, HP continues to develop its own ASICs. This is technology that basically connects the 4-socket boxes, if you will, together and allows them to scale. Actually, the Superdome Flex currently can scale up to 32 and not higher, and I don't think we actually, I don't know of actually any installation beyond 32 basically sockets, but there could be some out there that just I'm not aware of. But healthcare itself, Epic said it really would rather stay on 4, but actually can scale up to 8 socket, and it's validated that that works. Again, that provides a very unique ability to scale, and very, very few hardware vendors have a solution that can scale up to 8 socket, but definitely can scale up to 32 sockets. And actually, no other vendor can scale up past 8 sockets. That's unique to HPE. So the Superdome Flex is a very unique box. That's an x86. Again, remember, this is an x86 box that supports all the standard operating systems. Again, a very radical change from requiring a proprietary Unix. Great question. Is there another question?
There's one more question. There's some more questions coming in. Does Comport have SD Flex customers?
Yes, we do. Yeah, in fact, as you know, we have a lot in a lot of different industries, but in particular, in the healthcare space, we have Superdome Flex customers running their Epic operational database on this technology, and it's been met with great success for various reasons. They had seen large uptick in their grefs and the utilization, and by moving to this technology, they've really been put in a good place. Again, easily able to scale as they continue to grow and as their needs increase. But our customers have been extremely happy with the solution in the Epic space. But we also have customers in the health and life sciences space, in the finance space, where they're working with just enormous amounts of data and having to do a lot of modeling and building out, again, AI, ML type solutions. It's these have really been the servers of choice, and yeah, can't say enough good things about Superdome Flex.
Great. We have a follow-up to the 4-socket explanation. The question is, so the Superdome Flex difference is that I can start with 4 and go to 8, and it acts like one large compute server?
Absolutely. You just summarized one of the big value propositions of the Superdome Flex. That is one of the appeal of the Superdome Flex platform, especially the 280 today on the next gen, because that's what our ASIC does. It allows that ease of expandability. It's just literally a few connections. And again, it is, don't even ask us. If you are a Epic shop, go ask Epic. Ask them. They are, they do this. I think they've actually created probably an interim runbook that's very robust in how to scale the Superdome Flex 280.
And you guys touched upon sort of tight resources and tight budgets throughout the presentation. So here's the big question. Does Superdome Flex cost a lot more than other similar compute solutions?
Bill, I'll punt that to you right now because you're the sales side here.
Well, I'm not the sales guy, but yeah, I mean, so yeah, there, and as we said during our presentation, I mean, moving into this technology, can be a little bit more of an investment up front, but it's surely not. I mean, it's tough to get into numbers. It's tough to know what the needs are. I mean, it's very specific, and those are things that we would definitely love to be able to talk to everybody about. As you define the workloads that you have and the needs that you have, we can really narrow in on what that pricing looks like. But it's tough to give it a number. It's a little bit more, but to get started. But then we know that again, over the course of the course of the years of the life cycle of these servers, your total cost of ownership, we really see it bringing a lot of value because of the performance gains. Yeah, it can bring efficiencies to your business that can really offset that initial bit more of a spend on the technology.
And Bill, let me add to that. So my typical answer is I'm a matter of fact, they don't even let me go near actual quoting numbers because so I can't even speak to, best I can give you is list prices. Where what we typically end up doing is encouraging, our customers and partners such as Comport to provide both quotes. Quote a standard 4-socket box, quote a 4-socket Superdome Flex. Find out how different it is. But then also start evaluating all the other value adds. Definitely ask and understand the reliability, the RAS features specifically. Go deep into specific security features. And you can quickly start identifying where some of the cost differences are. And then ask the question also, what do you want your Epic core platform to run on? Do you want it a standard x86 box that has a certain degree of performance and reliability, or do you want it to be running on high performance compute platform that's also very standards based, but brings a whole new level of performance, scalability, reliability, and so on?
Very good. And also you made some good notes about not the migration benefit, the lack of migration need, and the no downtime. I think those really stood out to me.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well-
my favorite part of the whole thing is scalability without bringing more downtime to your organization. It's a win-win.
Well, that's a great place to wrap things up. We're hitting the top of the hour. We really appreciate all the great info and all the great responses that you, Bill, and Ivers provided for everyone. We appreciate everyone on Zoom tuning in, everyone on LinkedIn Live. Of course, thank you to Comport for again partnering with DHI to bring you such a great webinar, which again, to remind everyone, will be available on demand. On demand is very popular with webinars. So sign in and check out a part you might have missed or just want to watch again. Thank you so much, everyone. And this concludes the webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you.